Hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Punting Green, brought to you by oddschecker and priced up.bet. I'm your host, George Elek, delighted to be joined, as I am every week, by Ginger Joe as we do a whistle-stop tour of the weekend's PGA Tour event. This weekend it is the Texas Children Houston Open. Joe, fresh off the back of the Valspar, where I'm pretty sure I managed to curse Victor Hovland into winning by mocking his recent form, and he stepped up and won it.
Yeah, it's an impressive curse that was absolutely,
Thank
George.
you.
But look, it's coming just at the right time. We've got the Masters only a few weeks away, which is sort of giving us a really good field for this event as well. And look, sometimes that's all it takes, one win, and they bring it back. He was superb from tee to green. His putting is very much underrated too. I mean, it's all systems go for the Masters now, as far as I'm concerned with Victor. Yes.
Yeah, he still looks a relatively big price. I mean, you'd think he's kind of still a bigger price now. I think he's around the kind of 33, 40 to 1 mark than you probably would have thought he would be, let alone after a win. How did you feel with your selections last week? It went, there were a couple of kind of near misses. Mitchell starting fast and falling away. Ben on for top 10 doing the similar.
Yeah, we were teased all week long, to be honest, last week, George. Like you said, we were tied for the lead with Keith Mitchell after day one. Lucas Glover finished in tied eighth. He missed out on the places pretty much by a shot. He got into contention three times actually, and then made double bogey, bogey, bogey on three separate occasions. So it was almost like,
Mm.
here we go, and then nope, not today, sir, not today. Sam Ryder tied 16th. He actually played really well too, very similar to Lucas Glover. As soon as he got himself into contention, I was like, oh, brilliant, here we go. Next thing I checked, double bogey incoming. What Sam Ryder did do, though, we're having a bit of a knack of finding players that are making hole in ones. We had Keegan Bradley last
Yeah,
week, Sam Ryder this week as well. So we had a tied eighth, we had a tied 16th, JT Poston a couple of shots away at tied 28th. Keith Mitchell played really well, like we said, leading after the first round, but then finished tied 54th. Really frustrating, I suppose, it on that part, but at least the players were doing what we expected. They were just chucking in a bad hole here and there. Couple of notables out of the week. Xander Schauffele finished the round with a season low 66. That was very much a step back in the right direction. Again, timely for the Masters as well. Was 9 shots better than his Saturday score. And one worth keeping an eye on going forward is Ryo Hisatsune, who finished tied fourth. 23-year-old
mm.
from Japan. Very interesting. He takes a sip of water before every single shot just to make sure that he stays hydrated for the next 10 seconds or so. But he's a really impressive player. He actually won for us a couple of years ago. He's trending in the right direction, seems to play really well at tough golf courses. So, yeah, look, very frustrating on the whole. Like I said, tied eighth, tied 16th, tied 28th, but we're not too far away at the same time. A couple of bad holes here and there literally cost us a bit of money, really.
Indeed. Well, let's look ahead to this weekend's event at Memorial Park Golf Course in Houston. They're the first of a 2 weeks in Texas before heading to the Masters. And yeah, what do we expect from this track? It's one, looking back through previous winners, big hitters seem to thrive.
They do, yes, absolutely. And it's not necessarily something you'd see at first glance on this golf course as well. So par 70, 7,475 yards. And like we said, with the Masters coming up, we have been blessed with a stellar field this week. We've got Rory McIlroy and Scotty Scheffler in the field. Too short for me with regards to punting. But yeah, this is a really difficult golf course. You want plenty of accuracy off the tee. Not overly concerned about length, although it does, by the trend, suggest that you need a little bit of that. But I want accuracy off the tee on a high green and regulation percentage and someone that scrambles well, because this golf course used to have 54 bunkers surrounding some of the greens. It now only has 20. Now, the reason they took away the bunkers was because they were actually being left with quite easy up and downs. You just put a little bit of check from these bunkers and you weren't sort of, leaving yourself too far away from the pin. But now they've got basically a lot of roll off sloping away from the green, and this either leads to the players needing to chip uphill and control the ball or put up a big upslope and hope. Obviously they judge the distance well. So even though you think it would make the course a little bit easier with by taking away this bunkers, it's been the exact opposite. You need
Mm.
a good scrambler this week. If you can find a player that's accurate off the tee, hits plenty of greens in regulation, and scrambles well, I think that's the recipe for a winner.
Good stuff. We'll run through the top end of the market. It's a pretty funny looking market for a PGA Tour event with Scotty Scheffler 7-2, Rory McIlroy 7-1, and then all the way out to 28-1 for the third favourite Aaron Rai. a measure of the kind of form he's in, that he's the third favourite in a field like this. JJ Spawn, who was of course touched up in the playoff for the players, be interesting to see how he bounces back. He's 33-1. Michael Kim 33-1. Tony Finau, a previous winner here, 33-1. Wyndham Clark, last seen withdrawing the players when he was carrying our money on the punting green. He's 33-1. Davis Thompson 35. Jason Day 35. Minwoo Lee 35. Sunjae Im 35. Any of those make it into the staking plan this week?
Yes, there is one. Oh, we've got two. We've just crept one in there at the bottom as well. A couple of players just quickly I can't have this week. George Tony Finau, very much having swing issues, way out of form. And again, that's a previous winner here. So I imagine he's going to be quite well supported this week, but he wouldn't be for me. Wyndham Clark, he's one that we could expect a little bit of a bounce back to form when the major's coming soon, but hasn't necessarily been doing his best work. And another player that's dead out of form is Sunjae Im. He can't seem to hit a green from 100 yards at the moment, let alone 150, 200 yards. So those three would actually be quite popular picks in any normal year, but the form that they are bringing into this tournament is way off the mark at the minute.
Okay, so who have we got?
So
Who fronts up the second plan this week?
I've got a five-man squad again this week, George. We are going in for this week, but got two main selections and then three half stakes. But the selection number one for this week is going to be world number 25, Aaron Rai at 28-1. Hits both shot shapes, which I like for this golf course. He suits here really, really well. He was tied seventh in this event last year, in 2022, sorry. And he is very much a fairway green putt sort of player because he's not a big hitter, but what he does lose in distance, he does gain very much in accuracy to the point that he is 170th in the driving distance averages. Only 285 yards, really, really short considering this is a PGA Tour player. Probably loses 50, 60 yards on half of the field here. That being said, he is sixth in driving accuracy, so he makes up for it plenty, and he is still 23rd in the total shots gained with a driver. Also a very good iron player too, 21st in the green and regulation department, so he has accuracy all the way through the bag. He does need to bring his best game to do this, but his last three starts have got some really good form. Tied 4th, tied 11th, tied 14th. Very good from tee to green. It just depends on his flat stick this week. But I think at 28-1, we can afford to have Aaron Rai as our number one selection.
Great stuff. Yeah, Aaron Rai, 28-1. Main selection there for Joe. Who's next on the staking plan?
Next up, we're going to have world number 60, 24-year-old Joe Highsmith at 60-1. A really, really impressive golfer, improving with the experience as well. And he shot up the world rankings in the last sort of 5-6 months. Missed a ton of cuts last season, only made 13 of the 26 events, only managed to make 50% of his cuts, but he did make the final 6 cuts of last year. 6 cuts even of last year, which included 5 top 15 finishes. Started this year in the same manner that he actually finished last year as well. He won the Cognizant Classic about 3-4 weeks ago with rounds of 65, 72, 64, 64. Now, sometimes these sort of players, when they break their maiden on tour, they tend to fall off a little bit before finding their form again. But he's just continued the good form since. He was tied 20th in the Players, tied 22nd in the Valspar. Doesn't seem to phase him whatsoever. I think Joe Highsmith can add a second PGA Tour title to his resume.
Yeah, Joe Highsmith, 60-1 here, with a priced up top bet who are a quarter to 5. So 2 headline selections there from Joe. We've got Aaron Rai at 28-1 and Joe Highsmith at 60-1. You said 3 more half stakes?
Yep, so we're going some half stake selections now. World number 43, Davis Thompson at 35-1. Turned pro in 2021. Already has a PGA Tour title on his resume by winning the John Deere Classic. Plenty of top 10s to go with it last year as well. His strokes gained off the tee, he is 16th, he is 9th overall, and he is 20th in the scrambling, which he is going to need around this golf course. It's a similar situation with Aaron Rai. It definitely depends on how he puts this week, because overall he hasn't actually been great this year. But he was much better last week, and he has everything else to go with it too. So providing he brings his usual game from tee to green and just brings the same putting that he did from last week, then you've got to give him a chance here. But that putting has been a worry, which is why he comes in here as a half stake selection.
Half stake selection there for Davis Thompson at 35-1. 2 more. Who's next?
We are given another chance to world number 111, Keith Mitchell at 60-1. Let us down last week, George, overall, but he deserves another chance here, and I think he can build on it. Like we said, he started with a 67 last week. He then he sat in a tied position for first. He then went 73, 74, 72. Just a few bad holes within those rounds, but he actually still made plenty of birdies, did more things right than he did wrong last year, and nothing to panic about that performance as well. Similar course again this week. He's 10th in the greens and regulation stats. He's 4th with the strokes gained off the tee. Let's go. I'm willing to give Keith Mitchell another chance here at 60-1, which seems very much overpriced to me.
Keith Mitchell 60-1, giving another chance after he made a blistering start last weekend. For those who followed Joe in, just drifted away, but obviously playing very well indeed, and certainly fits the mould. You said you weren't overly keen on big hitters, but he can send it off the tee as well as possessing more to his game, as we saw. Who's the fifth and final one this weekend?
And then finally, world number 121, Alex Smalley at 55-1. He's really caught my eye this season, thrown in loads of low scores, 64, 65s, made 8 of his 6 cuts. In all 6 of those made cuts, he has finished in the top 20. Very consistent ball striker, very good ball flight for this sort of golf course as well, very controlled, and that's enabling him to hit plenty of greens, which is a big factor for this week. Very good off the tee, strokes gained in total across the entire PGA Tour. Throughout the bag, he is number 7. He has got some very high statistics that suit this golf course without winning, and he is also 11th in the scrambling. This could be the time that Alex Smalley breaks his maiden, but again, the final 3 selections are half stakes only. But I do think he's going to have a really good chance for this week.
Good stuff. Yeah, Alex Morley making up the final selection there, 55-1. So we have got Aaron Wright at 28-1, Joe Highsmith at 60-1. They're the main 1 point each way selections. Then Davis Thompson 35-1, Keith Mitchell 60-1, and Alex Smalley at 55-1, making up the 5-a-side team for Joe in Texas this weekend. Any others to flag up in the submarkets?
Yep. So no bomb selection, as we're going to call it. From the previous episode, because I've got a 5-man squad. I didn't want to overload the selection. I do have a couple of prop bets with the top 10 markets. I mentioned Tony Finau has been very much out of form. However, you can get 100 to 30 for a top 10 finish. Now, the only reason I'm considering backing him here is on the basis that he does have form here previously. And I know I said his game's been way off, but sometimes these players that are looking for form heading into the Masters do find it just before the event. And I think at 100 to 30, we could afford to have a small play on Tony Finau, but I wouldn't trust him enough to go there for a win. And also, player number 2 will be Andrew Novak at 7-1. This is a player destined to win on the PGA Tour this year. He will come up in the squad throughout this season for us on the PGA Tour. 7-1 seems very generous for a top 10 finish.
There you have it. 7-1 about Andrew Novak to finish in the top 10, and Tony Finau. Top 10 Tony, as he used to be called before he started winning again. He's 130 in that same market. Any more before we let you go, Joe?
No, that's it for this week. But don't forget to check out oddschecker for my DP World Tour squad as well. Managed to get a place there last week. Still very much in profit. You can find them on my column over on oddschecker too.
Brilliant. Thank you to Joe. Thank you to you guys for watching this very quick preview ahead of the Texas Children's Houston Open. Should be a great weekend of golf. And as we say, not long at all until the Masters is upon us. Cannot wait for that. Thank you to Joe. Thank you to you guys for watching. Make sure you check out priced-up.bet for all of your golf betting needs across all other sports too, and their price boosts across sport every single day, pushing out loads of selections out to the best price in the market. And oddschecker have you covered for the best prices across all sports too. Right. Cheers, Joe. We'll speak again next week. Best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, George. Good luck to everyone.
Thank you guys for watching.